Hello, everyone, and welcome to another great episode of Royal Black and Elite. I'm so glad you all could join me. Today I want to talk about two men who came together to build aviation at the time when the Black people weren't really accepted in aviation. They are the men who opened the first Black airport. And so it was long before the Tuskegee Airmen became famous. So I'm glad you could join me to meet Cornelius Coffey and John C. Robinson. And so, welcome everybody. Hello, Roilers. I hope everybody's having a wonderful day. Let's get into our discussion. I do want to say something though. Willa Brown is someone else we're going to talk about in this discussion because allegedly she was married to Cornelius Coffey. So, you'll see her later on in the story. So, let's get into it. So, John Charles Robinson was born on November the 26th, 1903 in Cairo, Illinois. He was raised by his parents, William and Betsy Robinson, and young John was curious from the very beginning. He could work with his hands, and he was really fascinated with machines. And this is like in the early 1900s. Now, as a teenager, people were moving in those 1900s. It was called the Great Migration. They were moving from the South to the North in order to make more money and most of all to stop being discriminated against. But they did meet discrimination when they got there, but it wasn't anything like what was going on in the South. So that's where he went. He eventually enrolled into Tuskegee Institute and he studied automotive mechanics. But his heart was really, it was in the sky. So he went on more, even north to Chicago. So that's how he ended up in Chicago. Now, in the late 20s, Robinson moved to Chicago and he enrolled in a school called Curtis Wright Aeronautical, but he was denied. This is when we see Cornelius Coffey kind of come on the scene. Now, Cornelius, he's a Texas guy. So, hello, Texas. That's where I'm from as well. And he was born on September the 6th, 1902, in Gatesville. Now, his parents were Matilda and King David Coffey. And they raised him to be very strong. He had a good work ethic. But most of all, he was a mathematical and mechanical genius. He was really, really talented. So, after he graduated from Tuskegee in 1920, he became a student to Robinson. So that's how they met. They started studying together and they both applied for the Curtis Wright School. So once they were denied because of the race of their skin, Robinson said, "I don't care. I don't care that I was denied. I'm going to steal. I'm going to be here and I'm going to be a janitor." So he started cleaning the floors, y'all. And he wasn't there to really clean the floors. He was there to learn. So he would ear hustle on meetings going on so he could learn about aeronautics. When they would throw their things away in the trash, he would get them, the blueprints for the airplanes and different things. He would get them out and he would learn. In the meantime, he and Coffee had opened up a automotive shop. And while there, they decided, well, you know what? Even though they won't let us go to school there and learn how to fly, we're going to fly anyway. And so they purchased a build it yourself airplane for $300. Now, can you imagine flying in a do it yourself airplane? And this also shows you just how brilliant Black men were back in those days. And I do believe still are. I was doing some study on this, and the statistics say that there's less than 3% of the people who are pilots today are Black. 3%. That's almost zero. That means many Black men do not enter this field, but you should. It's a very fulfilling life. They make a lot of money. And look at this man, he made some great history. So when you get out of the military, definitely go to work for one of the airports. And if you have a son, if he likes to fly, maybe you should go to airport school or pilot school, not airport school, but pilot school and learn how to fly. So that's my little hype right there for Black men to get out there, Black women to get out there and start flying these planes. You can't do no worse than what's already going on out here. So, and these men have definitely paved the way. So they owned this company. I mean, and where they were fixing cars, and they bought this do-it-yourself plane for $300. Now today that would be about $3,000. There was only one problem, however. They needed an engine for the plane. And they didn't have another $300, which would have been another $3,000 today, in order to buy the engine for the plane. So they did some studying. Both these men were geniuses. And as they looked and did some studying, they figured, this is the same type of plane that has something similar to a motorcycle engine. And Robinson had a motorcycle, so they put the motorcycle engine in the plane. Can you believe it, y'all? It worked. Not only did they were able to get the plane to turn on and move, but it actually flew. It took off and flew. Now, one of the men from the Curtis Wright School who had denied them earlier went just to make fun of them because he figured it wasn't going to work. But since it did, they allowed them to go to school and learn how to fly at night, however. So the men, hey, they took it how they could get it, and they learned how to fly. Now, in 1931, they reportedly formed the first Black association for pilots called the Challenger Air Pilot Association. And this is the one that his wife was involved with as well. So we'll talk again a little bit more about her. But they were training people. They were helping other Black pilots who weren't able to get trained in other places right there in Illinois. So congratulations to them. And the biggest accomplishment they had was opening up Robinson's Airport in Robbins, Illinois. That's where they would also go on to do their training, and people would fly in and out. So in the 1930s, Black people had their first airport. We don't talk about this enough. We were so creative. If they wouldn't let us do something, we did it ourselves. So it's so sad to see that we're so low as far as airports. I don't think any Black people own airports nowadays. So I just want to revive that and let you know that this was a part of our Black history. And it's our royal Black and elite history. So I wanted to share this with you. Now, they would train other pilots. Willa Brown, the wife that I keep talking about, was also there, and Janet Bragg. And Janet Bragg is the one who bought their first two airplanes so they could actually have an airport. So that's just so inspiring. But Brown would go on to play a big part in Coffey's future after something really terrible happened. You see, 2 years in 1933, after the airport opened, a windstorm came and blew the entire airport away. Now, to be fair, the airport was literally like a aluminum hangover, just kind of hangover, a little concrete with a runway, but still, it was our runway. It was our airport, and it blew away. So, Robinson, he was kind of over it. He had enough with the racists. He had enough with the ragtag airports. So he moved on to Ethiopia, where he gained a lot of international fame. He fought in a dispute with Ethiopia alongside the emperor there during Italy's invasion. So his bravery earned him the nickname the Brown Condor. Unfortunately, Robinson did, however, pass away in 1954 on March the 26th. He was still in Ethiopia, and it was a tragic, unfortunately, aircraft accident. He left behind his daughter Irene, and he became known pretty much globally as the father of Black aviation. So I want to pay our respects to him. Now, 5 years after the airport closed down in 1938, Coffey and Brown, they were together then, they opened the Coffey School of Aeronautics in 1938 on Harlem Avenue. Now, reportedly, more than 1,500 students went through the school, and they graduated from that school, and even some of them went on to fly for the Tuskegee Airmen. Now, Mr. Coffey and Miss Brown, they didn't last long in a marriage, but they did have that business together. And they both lived really to old age. So I am just so proud to bring all of these, enormous giants in the aviation field to you. If you didn't know them, now that you do. And Miss Brown, let me tell you, she was the first African American woman in the U.S. to earn a pilot's license. She was the first Black woman to hold a commercial pilot pilot's license, and she was the co-founder of that National Airmen's Association of America. So, the place that we talked about earlier. So, I mean, this is just a phenomenal story, and to meet all of these phenomenal people, I hope that you enjoyed today's lesson. I want to thank you for taking some time out of your busy schedule to learn more about the Royal Black and Elite. Now, as you know, my lessons are for educational and entertainment purposes only, and the Fair Act use is in effect. Now, tomorrow, y'all, is the finale of Hunter's Point. I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for supporting my show, you all. It really was it's a ebook. I mean, excuse me, it's a audio book, not a show, but I tried to bring it to you differently. I tried to tell a story in a different way. And my heart is overwhelmed with gratitude for each and every one of you who liked, subscribed, who commented in any way, anything that you do to support this Black history, especially because I'm a real person and I'm out here swinging against all these AI bots who's trying to take our history and just make dollars off of it instead of really being vested in who we are and what we are as a people in our history. So I hope that you enjoyed today's lesson. Again, I can't thank you enough for tuning in. Now continue learning. Keep on clicking down below. I'll see y'all tomorrow night for Hunter's Point, and I'll see you on another great episode of Royal Black and Elite.